for our topic for right here, we're going to be discussing Joe Rogan and video games. Now, personally, I do play video games. I
We all
know,
do
yeah,
around
we
the
all
table.
pretty much do at this table.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I know who Joe Rogan is, and like I know what he does and what he stands for and all that. But he did have like a discussion on his podcast a while back ago, talking about his take on video games. Now I can play the clip real quick. It'll give some people some ideas, but I it's a bit long. I don't want to play the whole thing because there are some
You gotta play
copyright
it.
things.
Not
But
not the whole thing, but we can give you a little
yeah,
tidbit, and then we can
like
kind of just
just a
expand.
little bit of it should be good. I think the best place for the clip that I want will be try to find it off of Twitter because there's like a small clip of it. Just to give like someone a general idea. But if you want the whole entire video, I highly recommend just go on to his YouTube channel, and he has like a recommend like his idea and his take of it.
Yeah, it'll give you the full context, and just for like a short summary while he's searching for the video, unless is that it right there?
Yeah,
Is that
this-
it? Okay.
exactly.
To get the full context of the video, you'll have to go to his YouTube channel or just to his podcast and listen to that in general. But the idea of what he was saying is that just from my perspective, what I gathered from it after watching the full excerpt is that he was saying that video games are like they're very stagnant, where there's a sense of like if you go and you practice like jujitsu or something, like that's a skill that you'll hold and maintain for your life, versus like a video game, you can play it and it's fun and it's addicting, but you're really not moving forward in life. What he did bring to that in contrast though, and what his other I don't know if that's his like co-host or just a guest that he had
That's
on.
just a guess he had.
And he brought up, the kids it is very possible. We are in a society now where you can absolutely like brand, like your own style of playing video games as far as like streaming. I mean, there's millionaires, billionaires. You can look at like Ninja, for example, who's like a god when it comes to streaming, and he makes like all types of income. So there is absolutely ways where you can, monetize like your a video game addiction per se, but there are other like facets that you have to bring into that versus just sitting in front of a screen and playing them. And you have to have your own personality, you have to have your own brand. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about a matter of, it's not so much that I would say video games are extremely detrimental. You can play them absolutely, but you just have to be able to monetize that in a sense. So that's what I gathered from that. I don't necessarily feel that opinion is wrong, because I mean, at the end of the day, if you're sitting at home you spend your entire day just playing video games and that's it, then I mean, he's not wrong. You're just wasting your life.
Yeah.
But if you can find a way to build off that, then by all means. do
Yeah,
what you have to do.
and maybe there is some statistics behind it of how many people are making money off video games versus people who just play them and don't have a actual plan and stuff. But jiu-jitsu, I can see where if you're playing video games could be like a stress reliever and things like that, but I can see where jiu-jitsu can give you like life lessons and tools and things like that, where someone is talking to you, instructing you with people interaction. Like you don't have to be around people or society when you're playing a video game, and you're getting tools and talking and being able to put them in action as you go out, and then also self-defense and doing things like that. So it's something that'll never leave you. We have new video games that come out all the time. Fortnite, like he said on the clip or whatever, it was a real big game, but not everybody really plays that anymore. So I'm sure something else will come out, and some people still play it, but that's give and take. So something like a sport that's already been cemented like that or lamented. It's not going anywhere. Soccer, basketball, football, any kind of martial arts, it's not going anywhere. It'll always be taught the same way, and for the most part, and it'll always be there. So, video game, I can't.
And he wasn't talking just like specifically, I don't think personally, he was talking specifically like jiu-jitsu in general. He was just speaking more like working towards things that are actually tangible in the real world that you can like build off of versus something virtual being a video game. So he was speaking just more towards like anything, whether it's being like a businessman and working with stocks and bonds, or if being like a jiu-jitsu master. Yeah, I guess that's what it's called. Or even being, like someone who plays a sport professionally, or just anything that you can like master in quote unquote the real world. The contrast nowadays is that we are in a very like information and technology based society, especially when it comes to like things such as streaming and something like that. So It's very easy. Like those ideas which once weren't like realistic in say the 90s, early 2000s, they are realistic now. So like having a career as a video gamer is extremely tangible. Now obviously it's not I wouldn't even go as far as to say it's like 1 in a million, it's 1 in 1,000, because anyone can make a Twitch channel and begin to monetize themselves. Anyone can make a YouTube channel. And that's the power of like technologies. We have it in our hands to be able to, just like our podcast. I mean, we didn't have to go to anyone specific. You get the equipment and you have the ability to upload it wherever you please. So it's more just about the person in general than it is specifically what they choose to do.
I'll definitely have to go with what you were just finishing off on, saying it has to be about the person. But I will have to disagree at some points of it and say that you can definitely only get to certain things with video games, because in my point of view, video games can help out people's lives just as much as like jiu-jitsu can as well. I mean, yeah, maybe you are thinking, well, no, like video games, that's just a game. It's not anything physical. It's not a sport or something. But if you have a better variety of video games instead of playing your typical Fortnite or typical Call of Duty or 2K or anything that's just a basic repetitive same thing over and over again, if you have a bigger, more broad aspect of what you would play as far as games goes, like the games I play a lot of games that has to require you using your brain a whole lot, and also requires you to come up with strategies, and that has stories to it and things that get you thinking as well. Like, come on, like many people who had a PlayStation at one point played The Last of Us, right?
I'm still playing it right now. Actually.
We'll see. Well,
part 2. I
don't know about part 2. That's just something else. But part 1 itself had one of the best storytelling that you can get in any medium, because it felt almost like a movie as you were playing through it. It was basically telling the story about like having love and family, even though things have gone like completely, like pretty much they had a pandemic themselves. It was a zombie apocalypse. But out of everything else that was going on, they have learned that, oh, hey, there's still some bright things that you can enjoy with your life, even though things seem so deadly and out of reach. And that's just one game. There's still so many other games. Like I can name like so many of them right now about how many has helped me out personally when it comes to other stuff like organization. Like I learned how to organize my days so much more better because of the Persona series. And Kingdom Hearts has helped me as far as like, caring for other people and understanding their struggles and stuff. So it's just, if you can be able to go on and say, because the way that many people are getting upset about Joe Rogan is that video games are nothing else but purely enjoyment, and that's it.
Yeah.
Well, let me.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I was gonna say you could still get so much more into it other than just pure enjoyment.
All right, so you said broaden your perspective.
Yeah, I just want to have one thing just to add to his point, and then you can go ahead if you'll allow me. I just have one small, quick little thing.
I still haven't finished either. But go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's a stigma as far as like video games being just mindless entertainment, and that is not the case. Like there are plenty of video games out there that are extremely what's the word I'm looking for? Stimulating to the mind, or like to make you think, or to make you like think about like reaction time. So it's I want to erase the stigma of video games just being mindless entertainment, because that's not the case. But go ahead. That's where the perspective is coming from.
People are trying to say,
it's just a waste of time. But go ahead.
But go ahead and say your point.
You got this smirk.
Because I still got more I want to say too, but I'm gonna let you say what you want.
I'm going to let you talk. You're going to definitely. This will be one of the most vocal times we've had you on the podcast, because we usually battle it out. You've always placed an opinion. I'm going to jump into it. You said broaden your perspective.
Yeah.
So for this generation and this society, it's always been about trying to do things to get the kids outside of the house and out of the room. And, we have some handheld games or whatever that you can carry out and stuff that have.
I'm just looking.
Come on, Brian.
You can't laugh in the middle of your argument.
No, this makes it fun though. Because we want it to be fun.
I can understand that.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Aaron was waiting for the climax.
I'm trying to see where is he going with this.
Go ahead.
That is,
Because come on, I still got some stuff I'm trying to say too.
All right, we are been creating technology basically and things that are keeping us from being able to use our physical bodies and things like that. And to a point, first back in the day, you had to go everywhere to pay bills, and you have online, all this stuff, and video games they were popular back then, but not as popular as they are now because of the more creative they got with virtual goggles and being able to travel and not pay attention to life itself and what's in front of you, and not only just sitting in front of a screen. I won't say wasting time, but time flies really, really fast when you just play one or two games, and you might not even feel like you played them that long, and you're just sitting there in front of a TV. Maybe even most people play with the lights dim and in the dark room.
You got what you want to say?
Almost.
All right, go ahead.
When I get done, I'll tell you.
Because I got a counter argument for that right now.
He was midpoint, and we both was like,
all right, well, let me
get over. He does it to us all the time.
Go ahead, Anthony.
All right, well, if you're gonna let me go ahead and counter argument what you got to say, can't you say that with many other streams of like movies, entertainment? Like you can do that. Movies, TV shows, books. Like even the podcast itself is kind of just like something to waste some time with. YouTube, that's extremely addicting to people.
I never said that YouTube or movies were positive in the sense of being beneficial in the sense of that. So before you say that,
there's multiple ways you can waste your time and make time go by quick.
Let me kind of argue what the argument was. He said books and stuff, and then he said reading. Reading is very essential because anybody that goes to school and you have you read on even on a regular, whether if you're reading what's on the stop sign or whatever else, like reading is essential because that is something that is a tool that you'll be using very frequently.
Okay, I play a lot of RPGs. There's tons of reading in RPGs.
Tons of reading in RPGs. It's more reading than playing the game half the time.
Yeah, but not in a sense to challenge you in a sense of that.
I don't know.
When you're reading,
I would disagree. I'm allowed to do that just like anyone else is.
So let's take
it's not detrimental at all.
A Joe point of view. If you hadn't been successful with the video games, or if that's not something that you have been exploring at a young age or something like that, the majority of the users that are playing them video games, and it doesn't mean adults don't play them, but it's going to be more kids than adults, simply for the fact that most adults don't have time to sit down and play video, whether the schedule or whatever else the case may be. So that's a different aspect. And if you're just doing video games, then what other skills have you applied to be able to use if the video game route didn't work? You will know very quickly and soon at an early age if you're going to be a video gamer and be able to make some kind of money off of it, because you've been in a couple of tournaments, I'm sure, and you will know really quickly. So most adults and most people that are applying all the things and reading and everything don't really have the time to play them, and the ones that do have the time to play them still fit it in a very tight schedule.
And that's what I just
from
said.
a statistic
fact,
fact,
my entire day as an adult is full. If I'm playing it, you ain't gonna never find me playing a video game at 3:00 in the afternoon.
Right.
I'm busy doing stuff.
Exactly.
Busy out now, if you're saying he's speaking towards the people like the kids who literally just wake up and just have 7 cases of Monster on the table and they're just playing video games that for mind-numbing no reason just to waste their life, then sure. But I'm only coming to the defense of like, you can build a brand, you can make money, and they can be mentally stimulating just as much as any.
That
other
is a route, yes.
But you don't always got to
stimulant. You know what I'm
saying?
But
you can still play games, like just like what me and Aaron do. We still play games.
I play them
but
too.
during the times, yeah, you too as well. But only during the times where we're like, all right, well, we've been busy working the whole entire day. Ain't nothing else going on. I ain't ready to go to bed. Let me just
I'm just
escape for a little bit.
I'm just winding down.
Because you got done doing something
music.
productive.
Some people have a cocktail at the end of the night. Some people like to read a book. Some people, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are allowed to wind down and not be condemned. You're wasting your time, is my point.
Yeah, but he's speaking to a specific class of people that's all they do in a sense. And also, with that being said, your brain doesn't stop maturing until you're 25.
But so Joe Rogan did not even say that in his podcast at all.
He ain't gotta say that's a grown
man. He does because that's where the argument's coming in, where everyone's getting upset about, is that he's saying just in general. He's not just saying the people who are over here wasting their whole time doing this and that. No, he's just saying like video games in general is just a waste of time. when there's people who knows how to manage their times and play video games and still be able to do other work and stuff too. Of course, I like playing video games, but I'm not going to pursue in like a career for it. My career is being an entrepreneur, and that's what I focus on doing most of the time.
Okay, so then answer this then from a statistics standpoint, because I did do my research this weekend or whatever before coming to this podcast. Video games have grown to where it is now, just now, out of all this time it's been out, or years or whatever, has made a platform and where they are able to get paid and be their own entrepreneurs in that sense. Do you think that there are more successful video gamers than there are in any sport or any athlete that exists that is currently doing the other? Yes or no? I will give you the numbers.
I would say that it's easier, just in the sense that you're not trying to quote unquote make a team or anything. Anyone has the ability to buy a camera, to stream and let their personality shine.
But that's what I'm telling you.
Games. Not everybody can throw a football or dunk a basketball. You know what I'm saying? I would say it's easier, and that's not even to say that it's easy. I'm using the word easier just as a word to explain that it would make more. It would be easier for me, even right now, to become a streamer and play video games than it would be for me to go try out for the Detroit Lions. You know what I'm saying? And that's me, somebody who works out, who's in shape. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that it's not impossible. Is my point.
No, but okay. I mean, it just depends on what kind of person.
It depends on the person,
but it also depends on what mindset you guys have. In a sense, if you are a parent, which none of us are at this table, are you cool with saying, "Go ahead, play that game, just do that"?
Yeah, if you can make if that's truly your passion, if that's truly my child's passion. How are you not buying it? If that's truly my child's passion and that's what they enjoy and they can find a way to monetize and live out their dream and do that, then who am I to shoot that dream down? Just like if he wanted to be an NBA player, then we'll be out on the court taking jump shots every day.
Yeah,
if
that's
you want to be a streamer and try to do it that way, then I'll help you get the equipment. I'll do whatever it is.
So let me ask you this then. Video games do teach you, yes, to a certain degree. If you want to argue that, that's fine. I'll let you guys have that. So I'm going to make my last point so we're not going in circles, and then we'll go somewhere else. What I'm going to say is this to close out my argument.
Okay.
You have to have some credibility, especially if you're playing games at a young age. Most of us kind of played them kind of young, and when we had
I've been playing
less free.
Since I was like 3.
Okay, so there you go. You have to have some kind of knowledge of learning before just hopping into a game before it can help you and teach you in a sense. Like most of us, I don't know about everybody, but most of us learned our ABCs and did math problems at the table every night for a couple of hours at a time and had to do certain things before we could get to that game. And then when you got to the game, because you knew all the other little basics or whatever, then you could learn little things here and there about playing the game. But if you just start playing the game, no, sir, you're going to be boxing rocks. I'm sorry. Let's just be real here. Don't say it's that much learning. There has to be some. Don't you shake your head either.
Brian, shut up and listen.
Let me tell you, shut up.
No, because every time I'm trying to say something, you
just
get louder and louder and keep saying something.
Well, you got it now.
Okay, what I was basically saying is that that's really up to the parent. And if the parent is so careless to let their child just instantly go to playing the game just to get them out of their hair, that's on their fault. And the most of us, like me and Aaron, we were raised pretty well where we're like, all right, responsibilities, good things first. Then once we got everything else taken care of and we just want to take a break, that's when you can have the game. And if we want to support their kid whenever they want to do something, like if my kid said, hey, I want to be a streamer, I'll be like, all right, well, if that's what you want to do, you can try it and see how it goes for you. If it doesn't work out, that's cool. Let's come up with a backup plan. That's how I view everything when it comes to like my business in general. I was like, okay, if that business doesn't work out, I have a backup plan for this and that. I still got video games I want to play. I'm still going to play them.
So then answer this then really quickly then. From scratch, meaning like, you know, let's say a regular decent little age to start playing games with her from scratch. What do you gain more, or which one do you think you can gain more out of at starting at a level playing field? So meaning if I start my kid playing sports at 6, let's just make a number up, and I start him playing video games at 6, meaning that if he's playing doing sports at 6 from scratch, both kids, I got 2 kids or whatever, one's doing games, one's doing sports. One is interacting with people. He's learning how to be patient. You have to listen, integrity, all those things. More so not cheating, but finding out how to maneuver in a game is a little bit different than trying to find out how to maneuver on a play. Like if I play basketball with you every day, I might know how you do a couple moves. I might do it, but then you might switch it up or whatever. But if I'm playing against a com on a video game or whatever the case is, oh yeah, he hit that little corner right 30 times, a glitch. Wow, like that, whatever the case may be or whatever the case is. I just think, me personally, not to knock a video game, but I think that I can get more physical interaction, more life lessons, and things that I can't maneuver my way around by being forced to, keep pushing yourself, doing it like this, break a sweat, also getting mental and physical, whatever. With the video game, you can't cheat code life. You can cheat code the game.
Where you're coming from this approach of like we're saying that just take your child and put them in a room and just lock the door and just here's a controller and a TV and a system and don't come out. We're not saying to just avoid all.
No, but we're going back to Joe Rogan's point.
Interaction.
Right.
I don't think.
But that solidifies his point.
Okay,
is what I'm saying.
I got a question.
His point is that if no matter what you want to say about a game or jiu-jitsu, what he used that as an example, is that if we start from scratch, we just throw them in there, then which is really effective? Which one is really effective? You're going to always say that the sport is effective because you have to interact with people. You have to be calm, when to raise your voice, integrity, those things. You don't really get that straight from scratch from video game. You've already learned those things from other things like he was talking about. From his point, I was always the other kid getting into things, doing things. And then, like he says, he plays video games now. You don't just get that from straight game.
A lot of games can awaken imagination far more than a sport can.